Hello and welcome to Nerds of the Old Republic, the nerdy podcast where we talk about fiction with, bionic arms, legs, 3,000 packs of cigarettes, and interesting distilled wine that we're going to have for the first time. I'm Adam.
Sup.
And I'm Mike.
Oh, shit. That threw up my whole vibe, man.
Sorry, I'm Sean.
I'll do it in post. And today we are talking about 36 Streets, which, from Mike's suggestion, hit every single checkbox it could have for this podcast, and really for us to enjoy it. So
there's a lot of them.
It was, and we're going to talk about it in, I don't know, maybe 3-4 minutes. But first, let's get to the alluded to drink, which is brand new to all of us. Mm-hmm. Sean was nice enough to pick up a bottle of Grappa, which is what the, quote, fat white dude, end quote, from the book, drinks the whole time. So do you mind just kind of edifying me, sir?
Sure.
What is Grappa?
Oh, it'd be my pleasure. Grappa, from the particular Grappa we are all going to imbibe here, is from the Mazzetti d'Altavia distillery.
The Wegamans.
Boppity boopity. It's Grappa di Moscato.
We just lost an entire country.
Yeah,
well.
It's fine.
We'll be hearing from the Anti-Defamation League for sure.
Come on. Family Guy did it. It's extra fine Grappa, actually, distilled in copper pot stills, produced in small quantity only with the best pumices, resulting from the squeezing of Moscato grapes. This Grappa expresses in its bouquet and flavor all the original fragrance of the grapes. Product of Italy.
I enjoy how it says extra fine. I wonder if they ever put any bottles out where they're like, it's all right.
This one's mid fine.
Yeah, it's
mid-grade.
Yeah.
It's definitely it's bottled kind of like a liqueur because they pull out
Ooh,
cork there.
that sounded so good.
So pour for you. I don't know how much to pour because it's like
What's the ABV? in it?
Right to the rim of the glass, man.
43% alcohol by volume.
Well, let's put it this way. I'm not driving.
All right, well,
You gentlemen do have to.
I'll do a whiskey pour.
And we are recording in wintertime in Western New York. And that means it sucks out right now. Thank you.
Yeah, it has been sucky out for quite some time here in Western New York.
Yep. I was telling the gents of the cast audience that I literally saved a Dodge Challenger from going backwards down a hill and hitting a car because there's no salt in the area and it's been 3 degrees forever.
You know, in 4 decades, I cannot ever remember a winter where we just ran out of salt. Like, it's just out. It's just gone.
Yep.
Like, that's a new one.
Mm-hmm. Put that on the bingo card.
Yep, we've seen 6 feet multiple times where I live in the last couple of years. We've seen that, but I can't remember ever seeing us run out of road salt.
Sean is looking at his glass suspiciously.
It coats the glass, surprisingly, for how it poured.
Should I get a lighter and just
It's
set
got a
it?
very potent nose.
That's got a
Oh, Lord.
very alcohol forward.
Well,
Yes. Hold the nose a little further away from the glass.
the bouquet has not yet had time to breathe,
Like,
and neither have I.
I'm getting notes of Sharpie.
Yes, getting notes of brake cleaner.
Yeah, it's like someone's like taking their nail polish off in here.
Well, you want to do this to our insides?
I am getting, like, lemon. I can say that. Like,
Oh.
citrusy. I'm holding my nose, like way further away.
like Lysol.
Yes, like a nice chemically
Yeah, it's,
lemon.
Yeah.
Definitely different.
Well, let's take a sip, and then we can talk about how this appears in the book and why we picked it, and then we'll roll into the book
Salud.
here.
Cheers.
Salud. That's not a thing I would choose.
It's
No, it's actually not that bad.
the lemon is there for sure.
Yeah.
As an aftertaste. Like I didn't like it up front. I can tell Sean doesn't like the aftertaste either, but
You just tell me how much the bottle was, and I'll split it with you.
Oh,
'cause
no,
that's a
it's-
waste.
as it settles, I get citrus. I get floral, I get
Sure.
lemon.
Like
it's-
chemical burns.
Actually, I actually like the aftertaste. It's quite nice. It's not so great right on the tongue at first.
That's what.
but-
Yeah, I was reacting to the first
Yeah.
taste, which, you know what, it wasn't as strong, but it's got vibes of 151 for me, and I've got a bad history with 151. So
This shit's straight nasty.
Anyone who drinks 151 has a tough history with that particular beverage.
There is no good history with that unless you're making your own like liqueur.
Yeah.
That's what you use it for.
Oh, okay. I
You-
can
you
see that.
Yeah.
This is not a beverage I will go
Sean
back
is
to.
regretting
You got
his
Sean.
choices.
You gotta so you gotta breathe out after you swallow, so you get those fumes out. That helps, and then you gotta just concentrate on the aftertaste.
You mean like the like dried remains of a grape soda in the bottom of the can kind of a taste?
Purple drank?
Purple drink, yeah. Purple stuff.
Second sip's not so bad. I mean, am I gonna go buy a bottle of this on purpose and just so I can sit there and drink it? Probably not. But having had it put in front of me, is it drinkable? Yeah.
It's almost as bad as Ouzo.
I don't like Ouzo either. Nope,
It's like I got a little black licorice note in that last sip.
You know, I honestly saw the clear bottle and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a liqueur. That's what we're in for.
I was expecting something that tastes like a Moscato wine or something, you know, sweet.
Made from
and-
Moscato. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
the sweet grappa. Can you
Yeah.
imagine the not sweet grappa?
Fuck no. Oh,
Yeah.
But it's definitely in the aftertaste. The sweetness is there. You get. I do it. Anyway. I get
It
the
follows
lemon
up.
and the floral notes are there.
insert the Ralph Wiggum. It tastes like burning.
Yep. Yep. Well, you know, it makes sense though because in the book, it's the I'm trying to walk a fine line between not like spoiling stuff for other people, but it's the character who has the inciting incident really for Lynn, asking Lynn to investigate the murder / disappearance of people in his company, and this dude just chugs it, and now I understand. I understand the character
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely gives us more insight into the book.
Yeah.
When I talked to the clerk at the liquor store, I said, "Is this the only bottle of Grappa you carry?" And that's all they had, like 4 of them on the shelf, and
Yeah.
same one. And he goes, "Well, we used to carry a different brand, but to be honest with you, not a lot of people buy it." So I was like, okay, well, I'm in for a treat. I said, "It's not for me."
He's like, we don't carry it at all anymore. I'm surprised you found that bottle still on the shelf.
Yeah.
It wasn't dusty. I mean,
It's been uninventoried since 2020.
That's funny, man. Like, yeah, grappa is the thing. Like, I've read about it or heard about it in movies or whatever, but I've never had it.
Yeah.
And whatever I was picturing in my head was not this.
Well, see, this is why I love this podcast, because it gives me an opportunity to not only read and watch new things, but to drink new things and then put it on my list of things never to drink again.
What else is there?
Sean-
Absinthe.
Absinthe
This.
is on there.
Ouzo.
You got, but that's the shit that we bought from Premier. I have had absinthe before in New Orleans, and it was much better.
Yeah.
It was like prepared properly.
dripped on a sugar cube?
dripped over the sugar cube
With the
all
spoon
that.
and stuff. Yeah, we just straight mainline.
Yeah,
the
we just
absinthe, and that
poured a
was-
glass and tried it, and then we tried making some mixed drink out of it, as I recall. and
Yep.
that wasn't great either.
No, we tried 2 podcasts in a row to make use of that $50 bottle of absinthe.
We're gonna make it work. And
So what are we gonna do with this shit?
I still have it. This is like
Oh my gosh.
3 or 4 years later.
Oh,
It's-
we should do like a best of cast where we just drink all the shit that we didn't like and just finish the bottles.
Ironically, best of.
Oh, dude, we should do like a season-ending clip show where we like
Yes.
we talk and then we segue into old highlights.
All right, let's use this podcast as a reminder because
Yes,
if I have more of this grappa, I will not remember.
Just like the characters in the book lose significant portions of their memory. I
Yeah.
feel like this beverage would do a nice job of that as well.
I could use one of those memory wipes there. On
That is a fantastic
This drink.
transition. Yeah.
Damn.
So
That's
we were going to talk about doing like the 60-second overview. Like, okay, you read this book, give us 60 seconds. Do you guys want a moment to prepare each of your 60 seconds? Or are we doing with just one person?
I like to shoot from the hip, man.
All right.
Yeah, I can riff.
All right. Ready, steady, whoever wants to go first.
All right.
Sean just threw Mike under the bus.
So
Points at him.
I this book first caught my attention because it was billed as what were all the things on it? It was like Apocalypse Now was in there, and what's the author's
Altered
name?
Carbon.
Altered Carbon. Yeah, that whatever that author's name is escaping me at the moment. But that,
Great series.
and then I don't know, there was like 1 or 2 other things, and I was like, oh, it's all good stuff. That all sounds great to me. And then I was checking out some reviews, and the reviews were all very positive, so that sounded great to me. I mean, are we getting into right now what we thought about the book, or just like our lead up to reading
60-second elevator pitch for the book.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, I mean, those things are all my jam. I mean, that I kind of felt like that book was being marketed directly to me. Like they were like, what would Mike like? And they're like, oh yeah, fucking Apocalypse Now and all that cyberpunk shit, whatever. So yeah, I was all in. The cover I thought was really cool, and
Never judge a book by its cover, Mike. Come on.
And I do it all the time, and not just with books.
Yeah.
But the summary, so that the reviews and also the summary of the actual plot sounded really interesting to me as well. The main character not being like a really like nice victim character, but like she's right in it and she's a gangster just as much as the rest of them, and all that shit sounded really cool to me. So that was that's what attracted me to it in the first place.
I'm throwing Sean under the bus.
So what do you want me to do?
Give me a 60-second elevator pitch for this book.
So I'm like selling you the story of the book?
Either selling me or you're summarizing it. Like, what would AI say about this book after ingesting it into its LLM?
This book was written by T.R. Napper, and it features several characters in Vietnam. They do things.
I wasn't sure if you were just going to stop at Vietnam.
Violent
like,
things.
I don't know how far I want to go with it
Yeah.
right at this moment, but I mean, I had no knowledge of this author or book until Mike, elucidated all of us on it, and the salesmanship that Mike presented was very good.
He had a PowerPoint for me and everything.
I know, it's
Fantastic.
pretty incredible. I did appreciate the notes of noir and the cyberpunk elements. Those were really cool. I think the exotic locale was a neat touch as well, and the Australian voice of the author is definitely just a little different than American writing, but not terribly different. But I went into it with those kinds of expectations of like you said, like the Altered Carbon connection really is what sold me on it, because that's one of my favorite series. I just love it. I think it's great. The books are fantastic. The TV show was decent enough. So I was ready to go.
I'm going to say I'm staring at the clock right now, so I'm going to try to hold myself to 60 seconds. Aussie Cory Doctorow makes more interesting cyber future dystopian thriller.
That was like 10 seconds.
It was. 10 seconds.
Aussie Cory Doctorow.
Aussie Cory Doctorow.
I like that. That's good.
Sorry, VS Napier, if that's not how you'd like to be referred to, but
I will throw this out there to our substantial Australian audience.
they do kick ass. This is for you.
They do. So all you Aussies out there, oi, oi, oi. And we hope we do you well here from the land of Oz, and we appreciate your cultural contributions to Western society.
Hell yes, we do. Hell yes.
Yeah.
So, if you haven't had a chance to pick up the book, which, like, I guess that's fine. I don't know. I'm trying to be sarcastic, but it's not happening because this grappa is distracting me.
It's a distraction, all right.
It is.
I don't know. It's getting better and better with every sip. Man.
And I was
As a
just
good
saying,
alcohol does.
I don't know if it's a bad or good one
Yeah.
yet. We'll find out in
By
20
the end of this
minutes.
cast, I'm just gonna be ranting like the old guy at the bar. You know,
Yep.
like.
Yep.
Help yourself to more if you want it.
Oh, I'm sure I'll have a little.
Oh,
more.
yeah.
You gotta be careful because of those Western New York roads, as we said.
Oh,
but-
my God. They're brutal right
Really?
now.
Really going to have more of this?
Yes, I don't think it's that bad. Man.
You can take it with you then. I'm not.
There we
It's not
go.
coming home.
There we go.
Put that in the Mike liquor cabinet, right next to the absinthe.
I'll drink a pint of it tonight while I watch. Listeners, dear listeners, this will be long past history by the time this comes out. But USA versus Canada tonight for Nations hockey tournament, and
I predict 5 fights before the second puck drop.
oh, I hope, man, I hope. I'm so pumped.
Does it feel like old school hockey again?
It feels
what it
like
is?
meaningful hockey, which to us in Buffalo
That's
means
rare.
a lot.
Yep.
Yep.
It's nice to see competent players playing together and
Yes.
playing well.
Yes.
Weird.
Yeah,
I don't know what
strange.
that's
It's
like.
been something like a decade and a half for us. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we can jump to a different continent if that helps.
yeah,
Move over.
yeah, let's
so,
do it.
Let's see if I hit everything. Linty Vu is a orphan who gets adopted by an Australian woman.
Yep.
Has sisters? Are they adopted as well?
A twin sister.
Twin sister, her twin sister. Originally in Australia, they moved to Vietnam because of the kid's background.
It's nebulous
Yeah.
why they did it, but I think it's the main explanation was that they were deported
Yes.
which
that
is
I
kind of
got-
on the nose right now.
You get to at the end of
Yeah.
the book.
Yeah.
It's very late in the
and
book
I'm assuming the mother did not want to abandon her children, and she moved to Vietnam with them.
with them. And there's this like vibe of the mother trying to figure out the kid's culture because she's Australian.
Right.
And so she's like, they make fun of her for trying to cook Vietnamese food, and like, she's not really good at it.
Well, Lynn, the main character,
does.
completely rejects the mother for whatever reason, and it's not really reconciled very well in the book. But
Yeah.
the other sister, I can't remember her name right
It's
now.
like Flong or
Fong-
I don't know,
Fong?
something
Fong?
like that. I don't know if I'm pronouncing
Fong.
it right.
I think it's
but-
Fong.
Yeah.
She's completely embracing the woman who's basically saved them from
Yep.
whatever would have been their terrible fate. And so there's a weird family dynamic where the main character completely rejects the mother figure, loves the sister but doesn't love the life she's chosen, and somehow is in a life of crime. And
Yeah, she gets like taken in by Bao, the head of a crime syndicate
right,
in the old Hanoi area, which is called 36 Streets, hence
Yep.
the title.
and you find out later on it's not really a crime syndicate, and
It's
you're like,
yeah,
the fuck.
yeah. Oh, so we'll get to that.
Yeah.
We'll kind of finish the ramp up here. So, Lindsay Vu is known as the Silent One. She's like the muscle of the whole gang, and she does all the collections. We'll say she breaks the kneecaps. She does the stabbings.
Pretty
and whatnot.
badass shit.
She's a leg breaker.
Yeah.
She's a leg breaker. And then she gets called in to become a detective because Herbert Malayson didn't know where else to go. This is the fat white guy who's making us drink grappa right now.
Yeah.
Sean,
Thanks, Herb.
do you want a beer? Do you want something else?
I will
got
I will
lots.
follow this up with a beer, but I
Sure.
am not giving up on it yet.
Okay.
As we know, Sean is a completionist.
He
will
is not a
finish what
quitter.
he
Better
poured.
and worst.
Yeah, see our episode where we had Muddy Taco and
Oh,
shouted,
yes.
"No one's
Yep.
leaving till we finish the fourth one."
Yep, and me and Adam are like, ah, ha ha ha, and he's like,
No.
"Shh, this is fucking serious,
Yeah.
guys.
You
Get
gotta go
serious."
deep
I'll
in the
fucking shit
catalog
you.
for that. That's like episode
Yeah,
2.
it was episode 2. Yep.
Yeah.
Sean closed the door and he was like, "You guys ain't leaving."
So
Ain't over.
the main gist of the plot then is Lynn trying to figure out who killed Herbert Malayson's one associate and who kidnapped the other one, because they're pretty sure
Right.
he's alive, and throw in some Chinese propaganda video games
Fat victory.
Fat
Yep.
Victory, which is like a retcon of the Vietnam War
Yeah.
using AR or VR. And then there's also some body mutilation and some body altering.
A lot of
Quite a-
Johnny
quite a
Mnemonic
bit.
shit going on
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
You know what? I really actually liked the character of Passaic Pal. And maybe it's because I listened to the audiobook, so the narrator who read Pal sounded like a child at that point. Like an automaton child, and it was eerie.
Which character was that again?
Passaic Pal, the big bad end guy before she
Oh, he always had a sympathetic look on his face.
he had a sympathetic look, but he was his voice was being controlled by the Chinese
Right.
general that they
Yes,
find at the
yes.
end.
Yeah.
And he's like, his brain is like of a 2-year-old who likes to rhyme. Poor little rabbit.
Right.
Yeah.
Run, rabbit, run.
Or he's very condescending. I always read it like he was condescending, treating his prey as like some sort of little child kind of a thing. And
Yeah.
I always saw him as like a Dolph Lundgren, like a Terminator kind of figure, the way he was
Sure.
described.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then basically the rest of the plot is disentangling the Chinese government, Fat Victory, Mind Wash, and getting revenge, which felt really good at the end.
Oh, don't forget to mention the training Lynn had to go through from her sensei that basically lit her shit
Yeah.
up like every night.
Every time she would be on the edge of death, and they'd have to like give her new organs and shit
Yeah.
and bring her back, and they would measure the severity of the battle with how many tatami mats she had bloodied.
Yep.
20
Right.
mat fight, 36 mat fight.
Yeah.
Yep. So there's a lot to unpack.
Yeah.
And I've got some questions here, but I wanted to also make sure I gave you space for each of your thoughts about how this book, like, did it live up to the billing? Did you enjoy it?
Is that
Before
your
we
first,
get into the bigger
is that
questions.
your first question,
This is my first question. I only get 3 questions.
Mike?
Well, I'll go first because I liked it, and I don't think it was like a perfect book, but I also I also didn't feel like it needed to be. Like, I think it was, it was just fun for people who like that kind of stuff, like that kind of genre, those various genres. It was kind of like all rolled into one bucket and like presented to you for fun, you know. And from that perspective, I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed some of the themes were like a bonus, you know. I mean, they weren't very subtle. All this stuff about like memory and identity and everything.
Nationalism.
But you know, again, I wouldn't want them to be very subtle in a book like this. I mean, it's like, you know, it's mostly about like the great cyberpunk action, and then it's like, oh, here's some things to think about along the way too. So I thought that was cool. You know, Lynn started out to me as a super interesting character because I liked very much that she's straight up, and I don't even know if anti-hero is right. Like, she's not a super sympathetic character at all. And I kind of liked that. Like, I loved how she was always just like drinking and smoking and like picking up girls to have sex with, and like she was violent and badass, and like all that stuff seemed really cool. By the end, I found her a little bit disappointing of a character because I didn't feel like there was any real growth, you know. Like,
agreed.
Yeah, like she kind of just, I think all the stuff that happens at the end where she like makes a choice to go off by herself is supposed to be growth, but it didn't hit me that way. It kind of felt like sideways. So that was a little disappointing. I thought, is Bao, is that the boss?
Yeah.
I thought he was an awesome character. I would love to see that dude represented on screen. I think he seemed really cool.
Yeah, I think this would play well on screen.
And that was going to be my final point here, is the entire time I was reading this book was thinking to myself, this is a decent book. It would be a fucking badass miniseries or movie. I think it would be
miniseries.
Yeah, I think it would be a spectacle on screen. I mean, just the like sort of grimy noir urban setting and the world building, and you know, all those like, you know, buildings that are like skyscrapers with rooms on top of each other,
but like rickety,
crowded
sort of
streets, all that stuff. Like, I was vividly picturing all that in my head the whole time, and I was trying to picture like what soundtrack I would put with that on screen, and I just think it would be a really impressive, you know, whether it was a show or a movie. I think it'd be really cool.
8-episode HBO limited series.
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
I mean, I always default to HBO because I feel like they do great.
They do it well. Yeah. Yes.
But, yeah, no, I agree with you on the growth.
Might be able to handle it too.
Yeah, they get their moments. They definitely have their moments. I mean, Altered Carbon was Netflix, right? So,
yeah, the first season was good.
The first season was good. I never went beyond it, but I remember I enjoyed
Same.
it, especially Edgar Allan Poe Hotel.
Yeah,
That was cool.
Yeah, second season got a little off the mark, but
Yeah.
Sometimes the writing just falls off.
yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So, Sean, what did you think? Did this live up to the billing? That's a no.
It's gonna shock everybody. No, it did not. And it's complicated for me because parts of it I really did enjoy. And it reminds me a lot of myself. Great ideas, kick-ass concepts, poor execution.
How so?
I feel like Mike hinted at it, that the characters are shallow, very cliche in a lot of ways. And like you said, they exhibit almost no growth, or they're really, honestly, there is no change in any of the characters. They are who they are, and there's no satisfying payoff for any of them. I'll be honest with you, I was really put off by the author's constant fucking reliance on smoking and drinking. And I get the noir aspects of it. I understand that. But it's like, I don't know what to do here. I'll have them drink and smoke.
Yeah.
And it's like, it just felt like a crutch to me after a while of like, oh, well, they just bring out another bottle of sake, or he brought us some grappa. And it's like, okay, I get it. They're smoking and drinking. What the fuck? Get on with the story.
I did think, like, does she live in a future where lung cancer is not a thing?
Well,
Because
apparently
they
can,
would be dead.
They can grow new lungs or whatever. I mean, again, concepts that were really neat. You mentioned Doctorow earlier, and it did remind me an awful lot of what was the book that we read?
Walk Away.
Walk Away. And like the concepts are fucking fantastic, and there's so much unrealized potential in that. Like the concept of a Chinese takeover of most of the Eastern world and their imperialism and the way that Vietnam deals with it. Again, another book that deals with the United States that is dissolute, which. It's a little too close to the chest right now. A little on the nose at the moment, but
I'm just gonna drink my grappa.
That kind of shit's really awesome. But again, I felt like the flat characters, the utterly predictable story, like I was never surprised by anything that happened in the story, and the I'll just say like the not so great like interactions and dialogue and things like that. I was just sort of like
Some of it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was left with like it's a flat experience. I love the ideas. Like I was sitting there, I just kept waiting for something to like buy me into it.
Right.
And it never quite got over that hump. I was always just sitting there going like, man, it was a great idea, but it just didn't execute.
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with anything that you said there. I just
Still enjoy it.
I think you know, like you said, the world building, the ideas, to me, like the atmosphere. It's funny, the smoking and drinking thing you said is like totally 100% true, but I had the opposite reaction to it. I'm like, oh, it's cool. Like I feel like I'm in a sleazy noir bar. Like
The number of times smoke was said to wrap around someone's head or the
Yeah,
fan.
yeah, yeah.
But didn't
Right?
you?
Well,
There's
and
a lot of fan talk.
And I'm always prose guy. I'm always the guy who's like picky about the writing, and the writing itself was not great in this book, but for whatever reason, maybe I just didn't expect it to be. That didn't turn out to be a huge hang up for me this time.
But didn't you feel like it was contrived and forced? Like every time she pulls out a smoke, pulls out a drink, and I'm like, oh,
for
right,
sure.
dude. If you make it the point that the character is like constantly doing something like that, you don't have to always bring it up.
I
you
don't
can move
disagree
on
with what
past
you're
it.
saying. I think I just
Wait. I'm sorry. Did you say you disagree or you don't disagree?
I don't disagree.
Okay, because when
Do
originally
not
you
disagree.
said you said you disagree with everything I said.
Oh, did I ask that Grappa? No,
Because I was gonna be like, oh, is this gonna be the start of a
50% glass of
no.
wine.
Let's
we
go
got
to the
in front of us.
replay.
Is it our first on air fight?
No,
That'd be
I
awesome.
don't know what to do. What dad and dad are fighting.
No, if that's what I said, what I meant to say was I don't disagree with anything
All
you
right.
said. I just, for me, like those weren't deal breakers. You know, I just to me, I went in with kind of like I expect this book to not be great, to not be literature. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a beach read type thing, and that's what it was. You know, that's how I took it.
I will end my statement. I'm sorry, I know we want to jump in, but I will say this.
No, you're fine.
I did not enjoy reading it. Does that make sense? I hate to use a double negative, but I
Yes,
didn't
you
hate
did
it.
not enjoy it enough to say I enjoyed it, but
There-
you did not hate it.
There have been books we have read as a group that I was like dreading opening that book again and getting into it.
Yep.
I did not feel that way.
Yep.
Yeah,
Sorry, excuse
exactly.
me.
Like just books where you're just like, fuck, man, I gotta do this. Oh,
Right.
I got other things I want to be doing. I felt like I was still enjoying reading
Right.
it, but the critic in me, which that's my character here as well, it's just, but I could never escape. Like, man, it's just I wish it was more of the way I thought it would be.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah.
So I kind of have three things that I'm thinking about at the same time here. One, my ingestion of the book as an audiobook, I think also taints it. Do you want a beer? You don't have to do this.
No,
You
I
don't.
must. I must.
Sean,
do not.
I salute what you are willing to do for
Lord.
this cast, man.
God. No, I will
Every
finish.
time.
I will finish the glass.
I'm literally having the opposite experience here. Like by my fifth or sixth sip, I'm like, ain't
Yeah,
bad.
it's fine.
It's all
It's
right.
fine.
It doesn't
So-
get any better, audience. It doesn't.
No, I mean, you do you. Maybe not buy the 750 milliliter bottle.
Well, yeah. That's all
It's
they
not
had.
a you fault. Yeah,
That's all
that's a
they
store
had.
fault.
It wasn't like it was cheap either, which means
I'm
to be going like,
sorry.
no, but it wasn't expensive, but it wasn't cheap, and I'm like,
Yeah. Okay, so best of, we're making a Grappa mixed drink, bitches. Let's go.
I've moved into
Sean's patio.
I've
June.
moved-
well, wait a minute, guys. Wait a minute. Wait, I'm sorry, Mike. Here's an idea, guys. If we do a worst of like episode or whatever, where we kind of like maybe riff on like the crappiest crap
Yeah.
and the
Are we gonna read
crappiest
M.K.
drinks.
Jemisin again?
Oh my god, this could be awesome. We just take all of the terrible leftovers and mix them together.
I'm
into
not
a-
doing King's Cup. No.
I was gonna say, let's just
No,
do a crumb.
I thought about that
juice.
for a sec.
Oh, come on,
That would
Adam!
be some good podcasting.
It would be
All right.
incredible.
All right, we got to start at noon, and I have you got to give me till like 10 to get out of your
I
house.
can see us doing this on Mike's patio. He's got a
Yeah.
brisket
Oh,
or
he's got
something
a
going
nice
on the
patio.
smoker.
Yes, I'll
You guys have
cook
a
up
good
some
patio.
good food.
We're
Yeah.
outside.
All
We're
right,
enjoying
all right.
the day.
Sign me up.
All right.
Sure.
All right, here's everyone's red solo cup of a mix of horrible shit.
Oh yes.
And I'll bet it will
Yeah.
be amazing. All those things
Honestly,
combined.
probably absinthe, grappa. What else
Yeah.
have we not liked?
We'll have hit on.
Jesus.
We'll just have hit on like this is the best shit ever. No, it'll be like a
oh,
revelation.
it's like the Moe's drink, right? That they light on
Yeah,
fire.
light it on fire.
Yeah.
The flaming mo.
Flaming Moe, yeah. It'll be a flaming mic.
All right, who's gonna go? Okay,
We'll see. We'll see. I
Listen,
don't know if
Nerd
you want
Nation.
that attached to you.
We need someone who's aware of every drink that we've had a bad or a mixed reaction to. Please email us and let us know at nerdsoftheoldrepublic@gmail.com.
Yep.
Let us know what it is so we don't have to go back and listen to all of our episodes again. And we
Prove
will...
your fandom.
Yes.
Sorry, the grappa hit me.
Oh yeah, I saw that, and we will put together a worst of episode where we hit the worst books, TV shows, movies, and the worst drinks we have had to date on this cast. You want it. I want it.
Sean,
It's gonna be a day, motherfuckers.
You just set
Buckle
off
up.
a firestorm of like Reddit threads and Twitter battles and all kinds of shit.
You don't know how. Well, maybe you do know how much Gmail we get after we announce our Gmail on the podcast.
Do we really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I filter
Get the hell out of
I
here.
filter the shit out of that.
It's got to be a lot of AI stuff though.
It's a lot of AI and some great authors who are self-published who are trying to get books out there.
Okay,
And
that's cool. Good for you guys. Keep trying.
I generally say no.
What about the Bill Murray one? I mean, I know he's right now scrambling to find some way to get involved in this.
Bill's in Japan right now, and he's incommunicado. He told me he's done until like March.
Well, he just got out of the SNL 50, I think, so he must have flown
been
right
busy.
to Tokyo from there. Okay,
He's
I
been
got
busy.
you.
He's gonna film Lost in Translation 2 over there.
Whoa! Well, spoiler alert.
Yeah, you heard it first. Sorry, Bill, you told me not to say it, but Grappa. So if I'm going to talk about how this book hit for me, I see it as a cyberpunk beach read, kind of like Mike said. Like, that's why I connected to Dr. O. Like, there's some great ideas there.
Yeah.
If I wanted a 1,000-page book and Napier would have wrote that, I would have read it. But also, for me, the noir genre means that you're not too introspective. Nothing against noir, but, like, move the plot along, bitches. Like, just keep going.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the smoke was kind of bothering. Like, the number of times they discussed how the smoke was circling around the fan at the top of the room. Like, we should, if we did a podcast where we drank every time that happened, we'd be drunk in a half an hour.
Oh, my God.
We'd be done.
Another shot of Grappa.
Can I, real quick, can I contrast that with our next upcoming cast and how seamlessly smoking and drinking was made a part of the story?
Yeah.
That's how you do it well.
And fans, this image, this specific image you're describing, I feel like it happens multiple times.
It happens a lot.
Yeah.
And I guess we'll tease it with maybe me mimicking the intro, which is da 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 boom 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 boom.
Oh yeah,
That was good,
gotta
dude.
love Tank, man.
Yep.
That was good.
Such a great tune.
It's time to blow the scene. Time to get everything and stuff together.
Let's go.
4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Let's jam.
Yep.
The intro and the outro. Oh, we'll get to that next time. Stay
fucking
tuned
iconic.
for our
Fucking
next
iconic.
cast.
Anyways.
It's gonna be a banger.
So this book was like satisfying fast food for me,
Agreed.
right? Like,
Yeah.
I did get some flavors where I wanted it to be like, oh shit, what's the book with Reason at the end?
Snow Crash.
Snow Crash. I
yeah.
kind of wanted it to be a little bit more
Yeah.
like Snow Crash, but not everyone can be like that.
Right.
So, you know, this was fun. Like, yeah, it had promise, progress, payoff. The progress was slow. It was not with the character development. It was with the plot development. This was plot driven. And I got the big explosion, and Passaic Pal died in the end like I wanted to. So,
Right.
ooh, sorry.
Spoiler alert.
Sorry.
Oh, that's all right.
Sorry.
We always do spoilers on
We
the
do.
show.
We do. We talk about the whole plot.
I gotta, you mentioned Snow Crash, and it's like one of those, like, I look back on that, and maybe I was just too virgin at the time, but
Don't
remember
know
how much I
what you
hated
got
on
to
it.
It's gone.
Yeah, and
Yep.
now I look back on it fondly, like, man, after all the shit that I've read in the meantime, I'm like, you know what, that actually was pretty goddamn
Mike and I
good book.
cringed because we're like, we both picked the cyberpunk stuff, and
Yeah.
well, he said they're shit.
No. Again, you said like it's like fast food,
You
like
liked
Yeah.
Gibson. You liked Gibson.
Yeah,
yes,
I like Gibson.
I have my moments, but I felt like I'll one up your analogy to fast food, and I'll say it was like edging me. Like, it got me so close to coming.
Hey, everybody, remember we're NSFW. Don't play us at work.
And then it just didn't really get me all the way.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know what, at
Yeah.
that point, I'm like, fuck, I gotta go to work.
Right.
You know, it's like, it's over.
Damn it, it's 1 a.m.
It's like super hot porn, but without a great story attached to it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I need everything. I need it all.
At my age, I
Mike
like a good story with
He's
it.
really obsessed with that plumber and making sure the pipe gets clean.
That's right. I mean, I want to know
Cable guy.
what's his background. You know, is he struggling? Does he need this job really bad? You know,
Why
this
can't
guy-
she just pay her bill?
right?
Did this guy get his stepsister unstuck from the laundry machine? I mean,
Oh god, that sounds really, really oddly specific.
just
amazing.
check the internet, man.
I'm gonna go to Pornhub.com a little bit later. Just enter that into the search bar.
Oh Lord.
So yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. So just one more quick question, because we talked about plot, we talked about genre. So the grappa. Every time Sean takes a drink, I'm so sorry.
It's so bad.
It's maybe I'm getting drunk, but it's okay.
I told you,
Treat me okay right now.
I moved from like to like it's not bad, and by the end of this cast, man, I'm gonna be like, this is the best fucking shit I ever drank.
Can we
Give me that grappa.
can we do something next time where it's like I get to use like rum or something, or
Yes.
maybe like a good
Yes.
blended whiskey or
I have whiskey up. I have Bullet. I have Buffalo Trace. I have like 2 other whiskeys.
Buffalo Trace
I
is
will
hard
give
to
it to
find
you.
these days,
so
man.
much
I
better
will
than
give
this.
it to you.
No, I gotta drive.
Yeah.
Once this
I know.
processes, it'll be a beer, and then I'm
Yeah.
gonna wait a little while and then take a drive. But
Ooh, I just bought a good one at home. It's Heaven's Door, which is Bob Dylan's line. There's a fucking greatest hit right there, man.
knocking on heaven's
wait, was that a Bob Dylan song?
Yeah, well,
I thought that was Eric Clapton.
Knocking on Heaven's Door is Bob Dylan.
But didn't
Clapton
Eric
covered it.
Clapton covered it and Guns N' Roses?
And Guns N'
covered it?
Roses.
Everybody covered it.
Yeah.
Damn.
Like most of the great music that you know, Bob Dylan wrote it originally.
The only good Bob Dylan song that was ever covered is Maggie's Farm.
When the man comes around.
You
just
talking about
making
Rage Against the
everything.
Machine?
Hells yeah,
That's
yeah.
a good cover. Yeah, yeah.
Oh man.
I knew who we're digressing
Tom
a lot.
Morello. God bless Tom Morello.
Is it because this book
yeah.
isn't that interesting to talk about? Or?
You know what? I will say this. Here's my suggestion, because we are to roughly suggestion time. I was going to ask another question, but
No, get your question.
fine.
Yeah. Question
no,
it out.
okay.
We'll do
So-
lightning round questions. We'll do fast answers. I
cool.
promise.
Okay, so everyone's got 1 minute. I'm going to hit the lap button on the timer as we go.
I mean, I don't promise that after I've had this glass of grappa. I might go on and on
I'm just prolific after
saying the same
7
thing
ounces
over
of
and over.
grappa. Okay, what did you want more of?
For me, I've already said I wanted more from the character of Lynn. Like she
Sure.
was a badass.
More
like
growth?
she was a really like grumpy, standoffish badass in the beginning. And I understand what he was going for at the end. I think he was going for like the Clint Eastwood, like
The female hard-boiled.
the hero does not commit. Like the hero comes in and saves the town, but the hero does not become a part of the town. The hero rides off into the sunset.
Yeah.
But you also get the sense that the hero learned something meaningful along the way,
She did.
or like the hero is off to other adventures along the way. And here we're told that her other adventures are like she's going to continue her revenge tour.
She
Yeah.
completely rejected any learning she could have
Right.
had.
Exactly. I feel like she is a static character, and that disappointed me. That's what I would have wanted more of for sure. I already said the character Bao, I think it is.
Yeah, Bao
Was
the
a really
syndicate
interesting
leader.
character. I loved like learning about his backstory in the Vietnam War.
The will and the act.
Yes.
That's all I think
and then
of
I
when I hear
loved too. I think Sean, you indicated you did not like this, but I did like the reveal at the end that he's like, we masquerade as organized crime, but we're actually like a military resistance. Like
With the Vietnam Army, motherfucker.
it was not unpredictable, but I just thought it was cool. Like I kind of thought that was cool. I wanted like
I didn't say it wasn't cool.
Yeah.
I just felt like it was like not executed as
its heels.
the way I wanted it to be.
what I always want more of, no matter what cyberpunk I'm reading, is I always want more of the virtual world, and I feel like that feels like a weird thing to say.
This
but
was
like,
a wedge in here. Like I was confused
Right.
where it was coming in, but then like maybe the middle 40 to 60% is actually Lynn playing Fat Victory for like 3 days straight.
right.
She like pisses her pants and sits on
It's
her
like
couch for 3 days.
exactly. It's like a section, and it's like a few chapters, and then before that and after that, there's nothing. And I do feel that way as much as I admire these books, Snow Crash and Neuromancer. I always have the same thought. I always, as I'm reading the book, I'm like, there's so much real world stuff. Like, when do we go into like the cyberpunk stuff? You know, like
I want the lawnmower man from the
so-
1990s.
yeah.
Nice.
So I mean, if you're asking like, what did I want more of, it would be
am.
those things. That would be stuff that I would if I were designing the book, I would put more of it in.
Sean?
I'll piggyback on what Mike said and say, like, I would like more of that, but there is another aspect of the book that I think to make it work, and it's going to sound weird, but think about it for a second when I say it. Lynn's sexuality and the way they play upon her appetites and tastes and things, I think for this book, it could have been better served. There was a little bit more sex going on. It's always like to the again edging us, and not that I want to pay off necessarily, but I feel like if there was a little bit more of that sexuality in the story, it would have made things a little bit more like, oh, okay,
she's a full-fledged human,
and it would have given the author a chance to maybe get away from the filler of smoking and drinking and all the things that it felt like he just kept going back to the greatest hits well to try and fill space where he didn't need like the training montages, or like you said, the Fat Victory always felt kind of like an afterthought in a way. And I'm like, I understand what you're doing with this, and I get the plot device of it, but the execution I always felt wasn't great. Whereas maybe more time spent on Lynn and that whore that she was banging, or that other girl that she thought was hot, or whatever. Like that. Not that would have been like titillating, but it's like
character. Developing.
A noir story benefits, I think, from more of that.
Right.
And I think, like you said, Mike, and I'll pigeon that. Pigeon?
Piggyback.
I'll
dovetail
on that point. That
piggyback, dovetail.
All the birds. Her character development is so, like, non-existent.
Right.
She really doesn't, like, the whole, and spoiler alert, fam, but her whole, like, her mother and her sister perishing in an explosion basically caused by her exploits, and there's no character growth, there's no learning. She might
being ranted by the girl that she loved, and then, like, she loses a foot to Passaic Pal. That's
and then she gets betrayed by her.
Yeah.
I mean, I hear what you're saying for sure. If you go back to the classic Humphrey Bogart noirs, those characters always grew in some way by the end. I mean, take Casablanca. I stick my neck out for nobody. But at the end of that movie, it's like, you better get on that plane and you get out of here. Here's looking at you, kid, right? He sticks his neck out for her.
Right.
Or like when he plays his was it Philip Marlowe characters and like the Maltese Falcon and one or two others. He's always supposed to be like a gruff, like, I'm just trying to make a buck and it's not about morality. But he always ends up doing the good.
Like Han Solo. Like Han Solo. Yes.
Yeah. There you go.
She learned all the wrong lessons, and it was almost like Bao was right there, like, hey, listen to this guy. He knows what he's talking about. But there was no inkling that she processed any of it when she basically did what her sensei said, and
she actively ignores him.
Right.
Everything. Right. Yes.
Now, so to interject myself here, good job throwing that down, buddy. You did not have to finish that. There's so many other things in this world, in this house.
Fuck.
But anyways.
You want me to pour you another one, man?
You know what? Maybe you just want it warm. Try it warm.
No.
So I guess what I wanted more of is more of the cyber stuff. Like they briefly touch on, like, especially that revenge tour at the end where she, like, okay, she injects the general, she, like, paralyzes him, she fucks with his cab, which, by the way, I love what she does to her AI, where she renames it, what is it? Her AI,
it's like fuck nuts or
fuck face, fuck head, fuck mouth, something like that.
Yeah.
Like, I want to do that to my phone. Just so it'll listen to me, like...
You could. Would you, though?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Then do it right now.
I can't, because I can't rename it.
You say Siri. I will now refer to you as...
It won't work.
What?
Her two trigger words are Siri and Hey Siri. That's it.
All right. I found that contrived and shitty, but that was... I wasn't going to go there.
I guess I wanted more of the technology. Because when you... So, I guess maybe there was too many things put in the blender. There was cyberpunk. There was a good
way to put it.
There was near future fiction, and then there was, like, it's kind of dystopia, and then there's noir.
Right.
Lean into the noir, back off on the near fiction or near future, that sort of thing. Like, I love the geopolitical though, so, like, I didn't want to get rid of that. It, again, felt on the nose, but, like, prescient. So, like, I wanted more of the tech. Like, at the end, we start with, she's like fucking asking for a gun because you can't have a gun in 36th Street. She has to beg Bao for a gun.
Yeah.
By the end, she's fucking riding drones out of her evacs evac situation to get away from Passaic Palace. She blows up with a thermonuclear device in the friggin'
that thing they implanted
tower?
in her was like she's basically like Wolverine now.
Yeah, she
Like,
is.
Yeah,
she is.
It was almost like,
The
why
X
doesn't everybody
whatever.
have this? If
Well,
she
they-
could
Because
do
it
that,
shortens your life.
It does.
It shortens your
It
life.
comes
Yeah,
with a
but-
cost.
Okay, yeah, he gave it that, but it's like minuscule for what they're looking for. Wouldn't every agent in Bao's catalog have done this?
Every minute you have it on takes a year off your life.
Again, like I
that was
said,
the-
if
that
you're
was the
fighting,
alternate.
if you're resisting existential doom from the Chinese taking over, wouldn't everybody have this and they'd be like fucking fighting balls to the wall all the time?
Maybe. And I did have an issue with why Passaic Pal. They didn't go into that with Passaic Pal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Like Passaic Pal was fucking uber jacked. He was
Yes.
Bane.
He was OP.
plus extra.
But then she
And
became more
somehow-
OP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was so okay. The trade off is her life is shortened
Right.
as she uses it, and she was pissed because Ice 9 didn't affect her anymore,
Right.
and like she couldn't drink anymore because like her liver processed it too perfectly.
Big trade-off.
Yeah, I would love that. P.S.
Yeah. That reminds me of the character in Snow Crash, the guy with the ice or the glass javelin or whatever, and like the mega dick.
Yeah.
Whatever his name, whatever he was, it was like the same kind of like vague, not well written construct. It's like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, part of it is like, so cyberpunk is not hard sci-fi.
yeah.
So they're not going to sit there and explain how you can bind adamantium to Lynn's skeleton and make her extra strong. They're not going to explain the processes by which her metabolism speeds up and the world slows down and she gets extra fast. They're not. That's not hard sci-fi. So like you wanted it more hard sci-fi, it sounds like.
Maybe I just wanted a better balance.
Okay.
Like she got this, like God mode code that she got to put in.
Yeah.
But it was like, okay, we did this now after Bao had her like completely obliterated by the sensei for years, and now she gets to do it. Like,
Because he did not want to waste her life.
yeah,
That's the like he told her no.
yeah.
Like
But then he let her do it.
I know.
You know what I mean?
know.
Like, it just feels like there was no.
as like a because your family is dead.
But
I know.
I just, if he really truly was interested in her as a person, he would have completely resisted it, and she would have had to like steal it or done something else. And then, oh my God, what are you doing, Adam? He's pouring more grappa.
Pouring the grappa.
What is wrong
man.
with you all? Make sure you
Just
leave
gonna-
enough in there for the crunk cup for the worst of
Take a
episodes.
I will.
little
I'm
splash,
just.
too.
I'm
I'll
doing,
I'll
there
take
you
it so we
go.
don't
There
pour
you
over
go.
the soundboard there.
Yeah, thank you. That would be a bad vibe. It took us a half an hour extra to set up the soundboard today because I fucked something up. So
What are we at right now?
bad.
Are we at like 45?
45.
All right, it's probably time to wrap this.
All right,
bitch.
suggestions time.
I'm a yes. Enjoy
Yeah.
it. Don't take it too seriously. Let it make you think about geopolitical implications.
Right.
And P.S. China, please don't cancel us.
Yeah, I'm exactly. I agree with what you said. I'm the same suggestion, and I don't think that I don't disagree with anything. Did I say it right this time? I don't disagree.
I heard the don't
with anything.
Very clear in the monitor. I got you.
That Sean said. I just, I would say to anybody, as far as my suggestion goes, yes, don't expect it to be Blade Runner.
Yeah. Yes, and.
It's not. It's not like
Sure.
it's not art. It's not literature. But the way you put it before is would you say cyberpunk McDonald's or something?
Yeah, it's cyberpunk takeout, fast food.
Yeah,
Mixed cyberpunk.
If you're,
I'm sorry, Nepper.
if you're a fan of the various genres, for me, I'm a huge fan of noir in all its forms, not just sci-fi, but all noir. I love those kind of films. I love reading those kind of books. And so for me, this was like, just as someone who appreciates the genre, it was fun. That's it.
Sure.
It was fun.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
As usual. Sean, be the contrarian.
Yeah, no, I can't disagree. If you really like well-crafted, like meticulously constructed fiction, then stay away. But if you're just looking for a good time, a good time.
He's getting emotional.
Yeah, oh my God. If you're just looking for something just to pass the hours, and like I said earlier,
Yeah.
I didn't hate reading it.
No.
Right? My criticisms are nuanced in a way. I would say if you're just looking for a good time, Sure, it's like the girl's phone number you find on the bathroom stall.
Oh Jesus!
You ain't
For a
marrying
good time
her.
call via
Right.
Snapper.
Right. You're not marrying her. You're not taking her home to mom. But you know what? If you're just looking for a one night stand, this is the kind of book for that. So I'll say that's where it lies. It's decent enough to read it and to enjoy the process.
Sure.
But you are not going to profoundly question existence after reading it. You're going to be like, yeah, it was something to read.
They don't
not
all
love.
have to be the Silmarillion. They don't.
No,
And that's kind of where I'm at.
No, but yeah, see, I measure everything by like, if I have to sit there and think about it for hours or days after I read it, then I know I had a great experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I forget about it pretty much right after reading it, like a Disney movie,
Oh.
there's no payoff. To me, it was like it was empty calories, and I got nothing out of it. And that is how I measure this stuff.
Sure.
This book, to me, was more towards empty calories, although I will give it credit for the ideas, the world building. Some of the characters are pretty good. It just wasn't enough to put it over that, my God, you got to read this book. It's more of like, if you're just looking for something to read in between great reads, it's not going to do you wrong. It's fine. It'll carry the torch for you until you get to that next big, great read. It's just not something you got to put everything down. Get this book now. I wouldn't put it in that category now.
Yeah, I agree. So, I mean, it did make me think about the nature of memory and propaganda and that sort of thing, but mainly more because I'm interested in that already than because it was in the fiction. Though it was a good 20% of this book. Like, we didn't even talk about the trip through Fat Victory and how it fucked with Lynn and gave her PTSD that wasn't actually there.
Yeah.
But, it was, if you want an intro into cyberpunk, this is a good intro. This is a light intro into it, and then go get yourself some Gibson. Right?
That's a great point, Adam. If I read this before I read Snow Crash, I might have had a better feeling on Snow Crash, honestly.
And so, I thought this was good. And as we're wrapping up, like, I enjoyed it, right? So it's a book I would say, hey, have fun with it. On my lit graph, I gave it, like, 3.75 or 4 out of 5.
That sounds right.
Right? I'm about there.
Yeah.
Plot-driven, fun, interesting. But I'll tell you what, it really set us up for the vibes of the next cast. So as we move on,
yeah.
oh man, dear listener, so if you haven't listened before, what we usually do is a book and then some other media. Maybe it's a movie, maybe it's a series. And I recommended my Friday night watch back in high school because I had no life. But I am very, very happy I didn't, because we are going to talk about the one, the only, Cowboy Bebop after this.
Can't wait.
So,
and I'll just say this by way of preview, that whatever I was doing on Friday night, your time watching this show was a better use of a Friday night.
I mean, did you interact with humans on Friday nights? Because I didn't.
Yes.
So,
well, I mean, that's part of the problem. I would maybe 17-year-old Mike wouldn't agree,
sure.
but
that's fair. That's
but
fair.
middle-aged Mike is like, you know what? I would way fucking rather be watching this show on a Friday night than having to talk to other human beings and
I'm
put
so
on nice
looking
clothes
for
and
it.
go out in public.
Yep. So if you have not ever seen it yet, Cowboy Bebop was a 99 through 01 watch on Adult Swim. Ooh, no, too soon. 98.
Yeah,
thank you.
I think it was 98.
98 through 01 watch on Adult Swim, which was Cartoon Network's After Dark series. But you can catch it now either on Apple iTunes or Hulu is how I watched mine.
Also.
Crunchyroll, if you subscribe to that. There's 26 episodes. We did our best to get through it. I got through 19 out of 26.
I watched the whole series.
Fuck yeah.
As did I, and I finished up the last
And I watched the movie
several today.
Fucking love it. Dear God, you got the movie in too?
It's on YouTube free. I watched it.
Oh, man. All right. So, in about 2.5 weeks or so, schedule back in your drive time with us to talk about Spike, Ein, Ed, Jet, and Faye.
Yep.
Oh, Faye. Shit, talk about a smoke show.
Wow.
We'll talk about them in a couple weeks. But thank you for being here with us. Grab yourself a cheap ass bottle of Grappa and maybe get the audio.
Wasn't that cheap?
No, that's what I'm saying. Find the cheap stuff because the good stuff is not that good.
No, don't drink Grappa. It's not good for you. No one drinks this shit. There's a reason.
Oh man. Well, there's a reason why the British triple agent who doesn't know he's a triple agent drinks the grappa.
Yeah,
It's to forget
because
things.
it's crap.
He drinks and he forgets things.
On to the beer. Bring that on.
All right,
All
there we
right.
go. Until then, you know what? Cheers, nerds.
Cheers.
Cheers.